This week on Destination Whitetail, we are off to the land of Oz for big bucks, Kansas.
Two things I know about Kansas are there's big bucks, and that's where Dorothy comes from.
It's just about prime time for the rut, and Brittney is hoping to experience it firsthand, if she can hang on.
What is that thing?
So this is one of my favorite things about traveling to small towns. You just find the most characteristic things. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this buck coming in, and then he comes right at me. Hey y'all, I'm Brittney Glaze. Welcome to Destination Whitetail.
Look through the scope, take a bead on him, plow! Gotta believe. There's enough wild game meat for all of us.
In Kansas, I was completely excited. I had heard so much about Kansas. The bucks were, people tell me that the bucks are huge. It's super exciting. I'm going to be there during the rut, and I'm going out bow hunting too, so I hope I get something close enough to where I can shoot one. Just really excited. I mean, I've heard so much good things, but you can only imagine.
You made it.
I did. It's been a long day, but I made it. Two things I know about Kansas are there's big bucks, and that's where Dorothy comes from. So hopefully I'll be packing my red shoes. So we got into camp, or so we thought. We ended up going to the wrong place at first. And once we get to the place that we're actually staying at, it's kind of like this, I don't know, 70s style type trailer. And this is a little house. It's nice. I like it. Cozy. And you have to walk in through a room to get to the other room, to get to the other room. There's no hallways. We only got one bathroom though. So having the guys walk in and out of my room to get to the bathroom isn't that great, but it's okay. I'll deal with it. It's no big deal.
What is that thing?
It is a stinking badger.
Oh, I've never seen one. Got in at like midnight, but we didn't get to this house and get settled in until 12:45. So we didn't lay down until about 1 o'clock this morning. The alarm went off at 4. I laid down for 3 hours. I don't think I slept at all. I was just too excited. I'm a little tired, but we're gonna go out there and we're gonna try it this morning. We got set up. It's still dark, and a few minutes goes by after we get set up and settled. I see this figure moving, and I'm like, Chris, what is that? Like, it's huge. I thought it was a cow because we were near some pastures and stuff. And then all of a sudden I see his tines. They're like pearly white. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I knew he was big. I mean, I knew it was dark, but I knew he was big. It's a huge deer. Huge. All I can see is his antlers moving. And I'm like shaking. I'm like, okay, we've got like 30 minutes till daylight, so maybe he'll walk on up and stay around. Well, he walks up literally 15, 20 yards from us and starts grazing and eating and walking around. And I'm like looking at the clock. He's been here about 15 minutes. All right, we can do this. 15 more minutes to go. We got it. And literally 5 minutes after I had that thought, he was like, I'm done eating. I'm gonna go now. He just trots off and disappears into the darkness. because it was still too dark to shoot. I mean, I tried, I looked, and it was just, I couldn't. So I had to sit and watch this big buck just walk away. But very, very good morning for it to be the first morning. So it got me excited to know that there's big bucks around, and I'll hopefully be seeing more this week. That evening, the wind was going to be the same as in the morning, and they had seen that buck come in the mornings and the evenings. So we went ahead and went back, hoping to see him. It was actually kind of warm, about 70 degrees, and they said that there was going to be a weather change. The temperature was supposed to drop drastically that night. And we sat there, and the wind started picking up. We realized that the blind was not tied down. After a few times of almost getting blown away, we really did feel like Dorothy at that time.
Destination Whitetail is brought to you by Browning Trail Cameras, by Alps Outdoors, exceed your expectations, by Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker, by Nikon, the next generation in hunting optics, by Analogics, protect your herd with the power of science, and by Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable.
I'm sitting here frozen and facing the opposite direction, so I have to stand up slowly, and I turn completely around.
Wherever you have a shot, take it.
This is one of my favorite things about traveling small towns. You just find the most characteristic things. Like, this is a place called Hubble Rubble, and it's like artistic stuff all throughout the yard. I mean, it's just really neat. I mean, they come a rabbit on a motorcycle. I love it that everything's old. There's old tractors and everything everywhere. This is what I love, just characteristics of small towns. So the next morning, I got my fair share of feeling what Kansas feels like in November. It was frigid. I think it was in the 20s. Windy, of course. And we got to go to a different spot in a stand. We're sitting there, and I'm facing completely one direction, and Chris is facing the total opposite direction right behind me, a little bit above me. And he sees a buck coming in. As soon as I could move, he told me, go ahead and try to take a shot. Well, I'm still sitting here frozen and facing the opposite direction, so I have to stand up slowly, and I turn completely around.
Hurry up.
He starts walking around. There's a huge brush right there, right beside where he was eating, so he walks right behind, and you can't even hardly see him. So I go ahead and try to get him to come back. As soon as I can get to where I'm pulled back, there's a limb, like, eye level with me. How convenient. And he just angled completely away, his butt to me, and just walked in between trees and brush. And when you're bow hunting, you can't really, there's nothing you can do when they're like that. So I got to see him. It was nice. It was an awesome morning to get to watch, but it was kind of sickening to know that he was right behind me and I couldn't get a shot. So we get set up in the ground blind, and I'm starting to get sick, and it's freezing. It's about 20 degrees. You know, when somebody tells you to be quiet and you just can't be quiet, you know, it's that time of day, you know, I'm sick, I'm tired, and just, you know, been sitting there waiting for a deer, so I think everything is funny, and I start giggling and I can't stop. I had this little plastic tab on my face mask, and I touched it, and it was so cold outside. When I touched it, it just broke. So I just started laughing, and I couldn't stop after that. It was just one of those times where I couldn't shut up. So the wind shifts again, and our guide tells us that there's a Boy Scout ranch about an hour away that we should go to because they've seen a lot of activity over there. So we get up and make the drive. We didn't take anything with us. We didn't know we were going to be sitting there all day, but as soon as we get there, we're told that it's going to be an all-day sit. So I had my tag and no money. So instead of waiting and going to eat lunch with everybody, we just had to borrow $10 because we didn't bring our wallets. That's all we had was $10. So we had to drive like 15 minutes just to the nearest town and go to the convenience store and grab a piece of pizza. All the deer there have been moving, so it's been a good day. So hopefully they'll be near us this afternoon. Oh my God.
I mean, there's no excuse for this.
That's sad. Like right off the bat, it was like doe buck, doe buck. It was just, they were running everywhere. I had a huge buck come in to the left of me. I quickly had to adjust and move over to the other side of the tree. So we're still at the Boy Scout ranch, and it was like right off the bat, it was like doe buck, doe buck. It was just, they were running everywhere. When I first sat down, I went ahead and arranged a couple of trees, you know, around me to where I knew if something walked up, I'd know how far it was. Little did I know I was gonna get bug fever right off the bat. I had a huge buck come in to the left of me. I thought he was about 30 yards. Right under him. He ended up being about 40, and I shot, and it was a clean miss right up underneath him. I'm glad I didn't shoot him low. I was really glad that it was just a clean miss, and I was just so ecstatic. I looked at Chris and I was like, that was awesome. He's like, you missed. I'm like, I don't care. That was the first big buck I've seen with a bow in my hand, and it was just, I was shaking so bad, and it was just so exciting. Just seeing him come up close, and he actually stuck around for a few minutes, and he kind of looked right up at me after I missed him, and it was like, na-na-na-na, boo-boo, like, you missed me. I'm gonna go chase this doe now. So we're sitting there, you know, after I just missed that big buck, we're still getting action all day long. I see a doe, and she's running around, and out of the corner of my eye, to the right of me, I see this buck coming in. He comes across, and then he comes right at me. The doe comes running over here to the left of me, and he starts going towards her. Well, there's a tree right here that he's coming up to. So I go ahead and get ready on this side of the tree. And when I get set up, he stops his head right behind the tree. And so I quickly had to adjust and move over to the other side of the tree. Everything's different, camera arms in my way, you know, having to anchor and get right on him. But I got on him and I shot him. And I was so excited, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But when I saw the arrow hit him, I was like, oh crap, I think it's a little high.
Did I shoot too high?
I shot him right behind the shoulders, but it didn't go in all the way. So I was like, it has to be hitting bone somewhere, somehow. So I was excited, and then I was like bummed at the same time. I'm like, okay, maybe I got him.
Oh. I hope I got a good shot. He was close. Oh my God. Was it high? It was. Oh, dang.
Destination Whitetail is brought to you by Browning Trail Cameras, by Alps Outdoors, exceed your expectations, by Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker, by Nikon, the next generation in hunting optics, by Analogics, protect your herd with the power of science, and by Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable.
So, I shot him right behind the shoulder. But it must have either hit the shoulder or rib because it didn't go through. It's just stuck in him. We just called the outfitter and I'm making a mark of where I last saw him. We're gonna let him, hopefully let him laugh for a little while and come back and find him. But with the distance that he was, he may have been a little too high, but I think hopefully he's gonna be a dead deer. We'll see here in a little bit. We're gonna pack out quietly and get out of here and come back in a little while.
Do you kind of remember where you last seen him?
Oh, yeah.
100%?
You see that limb that's kind of white that goes over?
Yeah, the double that's kind of hanging over? Yep, you
And
read.
right where the end of the white touches the next tree.
Okay,
Behind
yep,
it,
yep,
you know?
yep.
That's where I last saw him from
Okay.
the stand, and he went straight back behind all these bushes.
We spent hours. I mean, we spent every last minute we could. We found blood, and it was like a little drop here, a little drop way over here, and then finally, after like an hour and a half, we found the arrow.
Blood all the way back to the, looks like maybe
Yeah.
6-8 inches maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It was laying just like that, so. I was just gonna go back and then start walking this ridge and see if I could find something.
Feel a lot better now. Hopefully that means got him good enough.
After we've looked everywhere, and even in the bedding areas, the guide told us, he's like, you know, from the looks of it, that buck's up on his feet and he's perfectly fine.
Sorry, Brittany, we put our time in on this critter, and I think he gave us a slip. From what I can tell on the video footage and just the sign that we've come across, it looks like a non-lethal hit, high in the shoulder, probably just muscle.
Just bad luck, I guess.
But rest assured, we'll keep after him, and after the season, we do a lot of shed hunting, and we'll grid search this area. And leave no soldier behind.
Yeah. Just let me know if you find them.
Oh yeah, you'll be the first.
The whole Kansas experience was amazing. Like, there's no words that I can say. It definitely lived up to my expectations, and it was an experience that I feel like I probably won't experience again. I mean, the rut was just awesome. I mean, we had action all day, every day. It set a high bar for me. Even though I went home without a buck in my hands, like, just the experience itself was what's worth it in the long run. So I'm definitely gonna make a trip back to Kansas, I hope, and come back to the world of big bucks.